guys, welcome to my March TBR video where I intentionally break one of my goals for 2023. So one of my goals for the year was to not have more than 7 books on my TBR for the month. But March, you guys, March has March Mystery Madness, it has middle grade March, details of which I will leave linked below. How can I pick just 7 books when I already am going into it knowing a few books I have to read? I don't think it's possible. So this month I'm going to probably have a fairly large TBR. I would still like to view this as a TBR, not just a pile of possibilities, but I don't feel like it will be the end of the world if I don't get to all the books. That being said, there is a card that I might pick out that will have some consequences if I don't finish all the books. So let's see how this goes. So I already have 3 books that I know I need to read for this month. And then last month I started a new to me card game where I have one stack of cards. It's pretty big. That has like non-specific book prompts that will make me pick out a specific book. Then I have, so these ones have just read on the back. Then I have specific books that my patrons want me to read. These ones are all blue on the back. I want to pick at least one of these each month. And then this next stack, I decided this month, I learned from last month, that I'm going to do this as a separate thing. These have some blue and some red. These are bookish activities that I will be doing throughout the month, often in a vlog or something, and they don't necessarily need me to pick a specific book right now, but maybe a specific book in like during the month or do something else. So I'm going to be picking 3 to 5 activities, at least one specific book from my patrons, and then a bunch of these cards to form my TBR for the month, which is just, I would like to keep it, I read, let's see here, let's finish a sentence. I read probably between 12 and 20 books a month. I like to have some wiggle room where I can add in books that weren't on my TBR. So I probably read between like 15 and 20 books a month, honestly. If this was to be like 10 to 12 books for this TBR, I think that would be a good spot for me. I'm gonna put these cards down. The first thing that I want to do is to pick my book for the Read Your Bookshelf challenge. So this is a challenge that I have run for the last few years, and there's a different prompt for every month. And this year we're doing it that each month plays off of the book that you read from the month before. You do not have to read the books in the specific month, but this year you do have to read them in this specific order. There's a $100 gift card giveaway that I do at the beginning of the next year, every year for it. I'll leave all that linked below as well. So I should grab my book that I read for February so I can pick my March book. So in February I read The Forgetting, and for March we are reading a book that starts with the next letter in the title, and I'm totally okay if you use or ignore the, and etc. I have The Forgetting, so I could go with the next letter after T or the next letter after F, which would give me either G or U. So I'm gonna keep that in mind right now. With middle grade March and with March Mystery Madness, I kind of want to pick a book that would fit those. These are the books on my TBR cards, especially this top 2 rows, are the 24 books that I would like to get to this year. Except there is a G on there, it's Gone with the Wind. That is just on my list of classics. I'm not picking that book this month because it doesn't fit either of those prompts, and it's a chunker, and I already have a classic to read this month, so we're not going to pick that. G or U. I'm going to quickly look through here. Since I don't see any other than Gone with the Wind, and like I said, we're not going to pick that, I gotta look at the ones I have here that I need to read yet. None of those fit. So I could do one of my Agatha Christie books, which are on this top shelf here, or I could look through my middle grade books. I did a middle grade pile of possibilities with a bunch of middle grade books that I own on my homeschool podcast that I recently started, if you're curious to know a bunch of books I would like to get to this month, you can check that out. I'll leave that linked as well. There's definitely one that starts with a G that I could do from there. You guys, there's so many books like spread out all over. I have like all my library books and tons of books here. Let's just pick, I guess we'll go with a middle grade one. We're gonna go with The Grave Thief. I'm ignoring the there as well. And this is a middle grade fantasy book that has a beautiful cover. And so I'm excited to read this. I don't know anything about it other than the author is Canadian and I believe also a homeschooler, and so I was sent this by the author / publisher and should really get to it. So this is going to be the first official book on my TBR. And then I'm going to go through the other books that I need to read this month so you know what else I'm reading. I have book 2 in the Restoration series by Terry Blackstock. This is called Nightlight. This one was my Patron of the Month's pick for me for March. So every month over on Patreon I pick one of the patrons in my Windy Poplars tier to be my patron, and they get to choose a whole bunch of things. They get a postcard from me, and one of the things they get to do is pick a book from my want to read or my wish list for me to read. And so this is book 2 in this series. It's a post-apocalyptic series, and this is a book actually that I cannot find to buy. They seem to be like out of print, or there's a very, very, very long wait. I own book 1 and book 3, so I got book 2 from the library, and I really enjoyed book 1, so I'm excited to continue this series. And I'm going to be buddy reading this with her, and I'm not a super great buddy reader, but I feel like if I make sure I don't have too many going on, I can probably manage to do it. So that's my second book. Then my third book, my in-person library book club actually drew my choice for March. So we're going to be reading My Cousin Rachel, which is, this is a spoiler because I haven't shared this in a book haul yet, but I got this beautiful edition. Unfortunately, I didn't realize until I started scanning in all my books that I'd already bought this book. I had my eye out for it for a long time, and then I found it in my wonderful secondhand store that I love to go to so often, and I didn't remember that I had found it. And so I went and bought this, and then as I was scanning my bookshelves, I was like, oh, I totally had another edition. So hopefully I enjoy it. I do love this cover though, so I'll read it from this edition. I don't know anything about this, but it is one of my 50 classics that I would like to read before I die, so I haven't checked any of those off this year yet, so this will be a good one to start with, I think. And then the there's like a Christian booktubers book club that I try to join in on sometimes. This month we are reading Point of Danger by Irene Hannon. This is a Christian romantic suspense. I've never read any Irene Hannon, and this one was on Book Outlet a while ago, so I thought I would give it a try. Is this sticker gonna come off nicely or not? And I mean, suspense is not quite mystery, but I might count this as mystery. I don't know. I don't really know how much I care to like follow all the prompts for Middle Grade March and March Mystery Madness, but I do try to read some books from those genres or age groups in the month of March. So that's already 4 books on my TBR, and I haven't even gone into the cards at all. So where should we start? Let's do an activity. I think this is my activity pile. So there are a bunch of different activities here. Every month my patrons have the option to give me new activities. There's some fun ones in here. There's some mean ones in here. I'm gonna pick 3 to 5, but we're just gonna pick one for now, and then we will space it out. Okay, so I'm gonna pick the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm gonna pick one of these. There's 1 red one and 4 blue ones. Let's pick a blue one. Let's pick this one. Oh, okay. This one says, practice drawing borders for your poetry book while listening to audio poems. So this is something that I will do at some point in the month. This is a good one because I can't draw. So we'll see if I show you the drawing aspect or just the fact that I did it. But that's cool. That was by Shatona. That was her suggestion. So that's one of the activities I will do this month. Now let's pick a Patreon book. So most of these books that they have recommended for me in here are not on my TBR. Often they're not even books I've heard of. So we'll pick 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then usually I just have to look it up on Goodreads. Let's pick this one. Soldier Boy by Keely Hutton. And this is this is a Sarah recommendation. There are so many books recommended to me in here by different people, and my hands like almost always grab a Sarah card. I don't know how that's possible. So I'm gonna grab my phone wherever it is and look this up because I've never heard of it. Okay, this book appears to have really good reviews. 4.39 star rating. And according to this, it is historical fiction, young adult, war, Africa. So those are some of the things it's been tagged with. It was just a nightmare. All Ricky needed to do was wake up, just open his eyes, and Coney's red-eyed beasts with their long claws dripping blood and their fiery breath would have disappeared. His brother would be beside him. His parents and sisters would be safe and asleep in their beds just like before. Oh no. So this is set in 1989 at the age of 14 by Joseph Kony's rebel army in the Ugandan Civil War. Yes, okay. Wow. I am excited about this book. It feels bad to say. But I've been to Uganda and followed a bit of this war story over the years. So that's a really good option. It's gonna be hard and heavy and heartbreaking, I'm sure, but I'm looking forward to that. That is going to be a good one to read. So thank you again, Sarah. I'm sure it's going to be a great book because I always really like the books that she recommends. Okay, so now we did an activity, we've done a Patreon book. Now we're going to go to my like more generic prompts and see what I pull out. Some of them are more generic than others, I guess. Okay, we'll go like this. We'll pick out 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then shuffle them up. Pick one of these. Let's go middle this time, whatever the middle one says. Ha! This is a Sandy book. Sandy has suggested this. She said a non-fiction book set in Africa and not middle grade. So I have a fiction book that is not middle grade set in Africa. Now I need a non-fiction. That's so funny that I pulled 2 books in set in Africa. Non-fiction. This is a one that has me stumped. I don't think I have one on my shelves. Do I? Anything there set in Africa? No. Okay, I don't think that I have one on my shelves, but I could be wrong. Well, let's just look up, like, what are some non-fiction books set in Africa? Bonus points if it's set in South Africa because that's where my son is from, so I always like to know more about the country. Non-fiction. Sandy is one of my patrons, obviously, because her card is in here, and I love her to pieces. She always reads such different books than I do, and I always come away with all these recommendations. Oh, is this one non-fiction? Oh, I might have to read this one. One of the top ones for this is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I have read that. There is A Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. That would be an interesting one. But the one that has been recommended to me a lot, I can't find now. Cry the Beloved Country. And I believe that one is also set in South Africa. Yes. It was an immediate worldwide bestseller in 1948. Impassioned novel about a black man's country under white man's law. I think that's the one I'm gonna have to pick. Cry the Beloved Country. I'm gonna get my hands on that and read that one. Okay, so far I'm not doing well as far as middle grade March or March Mystery Madness goes, but my TBR is growing. Let's go back to the activity cards. Shuffle them up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This time I have 4 red ones and 1 blue one. Which side have I not picked from yet? What about this card? Okay, this has actually been recommended by a few people. Here I have Catherine and Ashley written down, but I know Shatona also recommended it this month. It's make a meal / snack / drink inspired by or mentioned in a book you are currently reading. So this is something that I will do throughout the month. There is a book that I recently hauled which one was it? I think it was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. It like starts out with a description of like lemon tart or something, and I was thinking that would be a good book for this. Because I know there's food, because she, if that's the right book, the character wants to start a bakery. So that would be an option if one of my other books don't have food in them. So that's 2 activities. I kind of want to pick another, oh, maybe I won't pick another Patreon book this month because there's not very many in there that are mystery or middle grade recommendations, but I think next month I'm gonna pick at least 2 from there. So then we need to go back to kind of like a more general prompt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's pick this one. A YouTuber's favorite. Okay. So I watch a lot of YouTubers, and I watch a lot of YouTubers that, oh man, I don't always have like the same taste as them. There's like the YouTubers I watch because we have the same bookish taste, and then there's the YouTubers I watch that I just like their personalities even though we never like the same kind of books. But maybe if I just quickly search on YouTube 2022 favorites, or because it's March Mystery Madness and Middle Grade March, I could pull up one of those people's favorites videos, one of the hosts of those things, and pick one based off of that. Maybe I should do that. Okay, the last person that hosts one of these things that I follow that posted something was Krista. So I'm gonna go through Krista's. She has a bunch of book recommendations for Middle Grade March. What if I do that video and see which books she all recommended? Is there anything? Okay, she has a couple books on here that I have not read. Oh, she's got some really good ones, a lot of which I have read. But one of them that she recommends, where is it? That I have here. A middle grade book that she recommends in her video is Song for a Whale. And this is one that was on my pile of possibilities that I've owned for a while, heard nothing but excellent things about. So I think we'll do this one. This one we follow a character who is deaf, and there's something to do with a whale. The back doesn't really have much for a description. I think somehow the main character connects with this whale and they can kind of communicate of some sort. Don't quote me on that. But there we go. Then I finally have like a middle grade book on my list. Let's do, put those back, do another activity card. So far these activities are pretty easy, so I can maybe do 5 this month. If they're ones that are a little bit longer or take more effort, then I might do less. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't remember where I took from last time, so it doesn't really matter anyway. Make a themed book video. So I've been actually thinking about doing this for quite some time. One of the themed videos that I want to do is a book about books video, and I keep just putting it off because I feel like I want to read. There's a couple more I want to read that might make the list, but there's always going to be a couple more I want to read. So there we go. I'll put that on my schedule for the month of March. Now let's go to another prompt. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books so far, which technically if I was following my goal for the year, that would be where I would stop. But I mean, we're already like almost into March. Let's just throw the goals out the window. Okay, I have 5 here. What's this one say? A flower on the cover. Oh, that's, where do these go? There we go. I love flowers on covers. So I already have a middle grade. I don't have any mystery, but I could also probably find a middle grade that had a flower on the cover. What if I found a middle grade mystery? I have a couple in front of me here, neither of which have flowers. Okay, I am gonna go up to my mystery section and check those out, or should I check my Agatha Christie? I did just haul some of her new Miss Marple books with the flowers, but I only bought ones that I'd already read. So let's see here. That looks like a bust. So I'm gonna go up to my mystery section there and see. I need to read this one. It's the next one in the series, but there's no flower there. So I can't read that series. There's no flower on that one. So then I have like all these classic mysteries here that may have a flower on the cover. Or just interesting covers. What is that even? Some pretty bad covers, honestly. Okay, I think I might just have to go middle grade. Because some of these are in a series too, so I don't even know which ones I can read next. So let's look at my middle grade. After I did my middle grade March pile of possibilities video / podcast, I separated it into 2 different piles. One was like, these ones I want to get to if I possibly can, like top priority, and the other ones were like otherwise. So I'm gonna look at my highest priority ones. Apparently I'm not in a flower mood though, because none of these have flowers. Oh, this one does. Okay, the middle grade book with a flower that I'm going to be reading is Amal Unbound. This is a book that I've heard nothing but good things about. We're with a 12-year-old Amal who wants to be a teacher, and she lives in a Pakistani village. So that will feel good to finally read this book that I have heard such good things about. Okay, let's do another book prompt because there's so many books in front of me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm feeling the middle again. Let's just go straight to the middle. The next in a series. Okay, and this is from Lindsay. That was a great one because I have 2 middle grade mysteries right here in front of me that I could choose from. So I have In Myrtle Peril and Iggy Morton Mystery Queen. And honestly, I want to read both of them. So what if I just count them both? I talked about both of these in series that I want to continue, a video I did recently. They're both book 4 in like historical middle grade mystery series. So we're like set in Victorian times with Myrtle, and then Iggy Morton is Agatha Christie as a child. Yeah, I'm just gonna count both of those. It kind of kills a bunch of birds with one stone because we got mystery, we got middle grade. These would catch me up to where these series are currently published. That sounds good to me. I guess I have 10 books on my stack. Let's pick another activity and then we'll do another book or 2. I haven't really pulled any books from my cart, which I feel like I've been doing a good job this year so far already, reading the 24 12 fiction, 12 nonfiction books that I want to read. But I don't want to like just stop reading them and then not actually complete that goal, since I'm already throwing other goals out the window. Okay, I've got 5. Let's do this activity. Read 24 hours in 48 hours. This is another Lindsay card. My hand, it just always like picks the same person a few times in a row. So this will be a vlog, which will also go onto my calendar for the month. I do share a calendar over on Patreon of like what I want, the videos I want to take place throughout the month. I do always change it, but I will make sure I get this on there. I've actually been wanting to do that challenge, so that'll be fun. Let's pick another book. Another prompt so we can get another book. Let's just pick 5 randomly here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have these ones. Let's do the middle one again. A book that matches your shirt. Okay, my shirt is actually multicolored. We've got black, we've got gray, we've got white, we've got blue. This one like almost works. It's a little bit lighter, but we need a different one. What about this one? Otter. It's got some white and some blue. That's a possibility. Do I have any mystery? I'm realizing I don't own a lot of mystery books. I could go completely off and do a thriller. This is a thriller that I've heard good things about and I've wanted to read. It's called The Overnight House Guest. I think this is the one. There's a lot of books with like, a lot of thrillers have almost exactly the same titles, but this one has black and it's got some blue and it's got some white. So those are two possibilities. Maybe I should look on my cart. Is this, no, that's more of a green. I also have this one, which is like a lighter blue, and it doesn't fit any of my prompts there either. Okay, I got two very different books for this. I'm gonna pick a number generator. This one's gonna be number 1, this one's gonna be number 2. Okay, so we've got 1 and 2 there. Let it focus. And let's hit generate 2. Okay, so I guess we're going thriller. I don't know anything about this. I don't remember anything that I've heard about it anyway. But it's fairly short for a thriller and they read quickly. It's just over 300 pages. So we'll do that one. It's the book that matches my shirt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're gonna do one more activity and then one more book prompt. So mix these up. I hope there's one, well there's a couple, but like there's definitely one activity in here that could really mess me up because it has to do with doing something with unread books on my TBR for the month. So I've got 5. Should I just keep going with the middle? It doesn't really matter. Go on a little free library tour. Okay, so this is another video to come. It's been a while since I went to some of my favorite little free libraries, so I feel like I already have my whole month figured out. I'm gonna go on a little free library tour. I'm gonna read for 24 out of 48 hours. I'm gonna make a book themed video. So that's all coming up in March. And then these will get into either one of these vlogs. Oh, yeah. While I'm reading for 24 hours, I'm going to make a meal or snack or drink inspired or mentioned in a book that I'm reading. And I am going to practice drawing borders for my poetry book while I'm listening to audio poems during that 24 hours. There, I've got that figured out. One more book. Okay, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 cards. Let's just stick with the middle if that's been going well. Has a cool spine. So let's look at the middle grade ones that I have here. 2 that stick out to me so far are A Rover Story, which is actually the what's the word I'm looking for? The official buddy read, the read along, the official book for middle grade March, whatever I'm looking for. I don't know, the colors jumped out at me. Otter, once again, because it's got the cute little otter on here. What else? I have a couple books from the library that, you know, I just got out for fun. Frost Heart has kind of a cool spine. It jumped out at me a little bit. What else has a cool spine? Okay, I'm gonna say one of these 3. Once again, we're gonna default to a random number generator. This time I'm going to change it to 3 books. And once again, we will go Otter is number 1, A Rover Story is number 2, and Voyage of the Frost Heart. I think it's got a different title in some places too. Is number 3. So I got my 3. Let's focus. And let's hit generate. And number 3. So Frost Heart is going to be my cool spine book. I mean, I'm intrigued. This is middle grade fantasy, and that's all I know. And I know that I'm like behind the times because people have been reading this for the last couple of years and enjoying it. I think it's a trilogy, or maybe it's only a trilogy so far. So there's that. And like, I'm also gonna get to these 2, I'm sure. This is like middle grade plus free verse, so there's not very many words per page here. So that should be a fairly quick read. And then I like science fiction, and this is the, what's the like actual term I'm looking for? The like official read along book. So I will probably also get to this. And then you just need to watch my March reading wrap up to see what else I get to, because I have a feeling I'm going to be trying to read all the books in March. So thanks so much for being here, guys, and watching me choose my TBR for the month.